So we're going to pick up stitches along a collar edge, and you can see right here that we've got a nice slope to work with. Sometimes when you do your bind offs and decreases for a neck hole edge or an armhole edge, you end up with a stair step. That's pretty normal, but there's a way to get around it if you slip the first stitch of every batch. So let's see, it says bind off 5, and then let's say the next one says bind off 3. What you're going to do is slip that first stitch and then bind off the next stitch as usual. And you see that happen right here, and it just creates a nice smooth curve, which is nice for picking up stitches in. So to pick up stitches, we're going to take our yarn, usually a matching yarn, but in this case a contrast color, and we're going to take our needle. Circular needles are nice to work with. This one's a little noisy, but what you want to do is you can look at the anatomy of each knitted stitch is that there are two kind of slanted legs on each side, and it forms a V. So you want to inspect your row of knitting, and right underneath the last worked row, the bound off edge, find the V and stick your needle right into the center of it, of one V stitch, and pull through a loop of new yarn just as though you're knitting. So this is usually what patterns mean when it says pick up and knit a new stitch. So right into the next V, pull through a new loop. You pick up and knit. Into the center of the next one, pick up a stitch. There's some debate about what different terms mean, but this is the consensus around the Barocco office. You're just going into the V and picking up a stitch. If you're working a 1-to-1 ratio, this is great. But if you need to add an extra stitch, you can do that in between two stitches. So just pick up an extra one right next to the V and then into the center of the next V. You've added an extra little stitch there. So this is one way to pick up stitches. You can also, if you look at the top of the bound off stitches, you can see that there's also a V pattern forming there, a little chain of V's. You can go into the outer, if you go into the center of this V and kind of prop up that outside leg and pull a loop through that, you can do that to pick up stitches. I'll show you the difference in just a second. There's pluses and minuses to both ways. So again, we're just going into the center of that top V, picking up the outer leg, and knitting a loop, pulling a loop through. So what this does is it forms a little, you can see the line right there, the other leg, the opposite leg, which is on the left side, you can see a little ridge. But on the inside, it's actually nice and smooth. It's pretty flush with the knitting. Whereas the other method leaves a clean facing edge. The right side doesn't show anything. It seems like the knitting is just growing organically out of this piece. But on the back side, you can very, very clearly see that both legs of that top V, the bound off edge, are inside, they're facing. And it kind of creates a little bulky ridge, but you can either live with it on the outside or on the inside. It's up to you.